Hey guys, and welcome to today's First Impressions video, the video game series in which we look at a recently released game and I give you my first thoughts and impressions on it. Today we're looking at Touken Ranbu Warriors, which is a spectacle fighter of sorts that follows a story narrative. It's got some interesting features, but is sort of shallow when you really try and dive into it. There's not a lot of depth to the game, and that's kind of disappointing. There's also some serious features that need to be added or at least fixed, in my opinion. The first is you've got to go through the opening story scene and like a lot of dialogue before you can actually get to change the settings, which is just not good enough. Just let me have the settings when I first jump into the game. The game also starts in windowed mode, and again, you can't actually access to change it to full screen mode until you get to your first part of the tutorial. The tutorial for the most part isn't too bad. It's a bit long-winded because you've got to go through each of the characters as it introduces the new mechanics of each sort of team, if you like. But on the whole, it's pretty enjoyable. As always, we will look through the settings first and then we will jump straight into the gameplay. But before I do, it is worth noting that this is controller only. You can use the keyboard, but it has zero mouse support whatsoever. This game has very much been designed with a controller in mind. Now that's out of the way, let's jump into those settings. Alright then, first off, I want to mention the fact that you have these manuals that you can scan over on the right hand side. I'm seeing this a lot more with like more Japanese or Korean type titles, that they're just having the manuals there being able to scan and download it, which is actually quite a nice feature, and I wouldn't mind more games doing this. Outside of that, you've got your save data. You can save and load games. You've got your settings here to change game settings. You've got your guide, DLC settings, and return to title. You can also change the music, but apparently that is locked right now. I don't know if that's DLC or whether you unlock it later on in the game. The actual settings you've got aren't that many. Like, it looks like there's more settings than what there actually is. So you've got difficulty. I've got it on easy just so I could get through tutorial as quickly as possible. Honestly, you're probably going to want to turn it up to normal or hard because the enemies are... They're paper thin if you play on easy, but it will allow me to show you the combos and stuff, so we're going to keep it on that for now. Vibration on or off. Honestly, the vibration's not too bad. Some controller games can be incredibly heavy on the vibration side, and I'm quite happy to report that's not really the case here. Auto lock on, you're probably going to want that on. It just makes life a lot easier. Display enemy HP of strong enemies only. Again, that's just going to make your life a lot easier because everything else dies like tissue paper. Battle hints, not really a big deal if you have them on or off. Message speed, again, keeping it on normal is fine. It's nice that they've got it, but you can actually skip entire scenes of dialogue, which you're probably going to want to do, honestly. The story's very typical, let's put it that way. Subtitles on or off. Interestingly enough, with the subtitles, when you have in-game like animations when you're fighting, there are no subtitles, so you don't actually know what they're saying when they're doing their entrances or their exits or their specials, which is a bit disappointing. And then you've got your DLC outfit pickable, etc. So that's an interesting setting there. Display settings are the most disappointing. Again, it very much screams that this was a console port. You've got brightness, resolution, display mode, borderless, full screen, windowed. You're going to want to keep it on borderless, honestly. And then graphics quality. There are no extra graphics qualities here. That's just it. You've got your low, medium, and high. Incredibly disappointing because this title is actually very, very pretty. You've got your camera options here, so you can change the vertical, horizontal, or speed. And then your sound options. I'm very happy to report that the sound is not at maximum by default. And honestly, the soundtrack is very, very pretty as well. So there you go. They're your options. Your controller settings, there's not really a huge amount. You've got your scheme. You've got regular or easy mode. Your action keys, which you can rebind for keyboard and mouse. But your mouse doesn't work unless you select something for it, which is a bit odd. Your menu keys, again, if you're going to be using the controller, it's all pretty standard, and then your gamepad here. It looks like you can rebind them, which is something that you don't see a lot on games like this. So the fact that it looks like you can actually rebind your buttons is actually really nice. So there you have it. That is the options for the game. Let's jump into some actual combat and see what it's all about. Alright, so the story mode is basically this. You're a group of people that are incredibly strong warriors, and you've been made stronger by this being, and then it looks like you are being sent back in time to stop history being altered and changed. You get a number of quests, and as you can see, you've got all these different areas that you've got to go to, and you've got different teams of people. The text is interesting, to say the least. The story is very anime-like, if you will, and you rush through. Basically, I'm not going to read any of this. I just want to get to the battle here. And then this is what happens. So it gives you a lot of tutorials with everything, right? There's a lot to explain without the game actually being that deep. Essentially, the mission is go in, kill stuff, don't die, right? That's basically what you've got to do. And then you can choose who you want to be your main character and your partner. Some teams have 4 people in. This team only has 2, etc. So we're going to go like that. And then once you've done that, you can start the battle, look at the battlefield info, see what the conditions are for winning and failing. As you can see here, we've got to stop her Hashiba from dying, and then you start battle. Now, loading times aren't terrible, but they're not brilliant either. And then you get these really long intro scenes, and unfortunately with these intro scenes, as cool as they are, they're actually reused assets from character to character. There's only like 2 or 3 actual like original ones, which is a bit of a shame. A lot of the characters do the same thing. And then you've got this little area that you can see in the map, and you have to get to the point in order to save them. Your hitboxes are miles away, and I think this kind of works the same no matter whether you're on easy, hard, etc. And you just go through, kill enemies. You've got different sort of moves and abilities, but it's very dull. You've only got essentially 3 moves. You've got your sort of normal attack, you've got your special attack, and then when the gorge fills up on the bottom left, you can use a special move that basically does all the fighting for you. It's kind of dull in that respect. I'm not a huge fan. It would be nice if they added more combos. It looks like you can actually unlock new moves later on, because if you look here, you've got a different type of special attack, and there are 2 that are not unlocked yet. So as you level up, I'm assuming that you'll unlock different special moves. But again, it's very dull. It's X, Y, and then B when you've got your range stuff kind of up to date. It's very much a spectacle fighter. Like you go through, you dispatch waves and waves and waves of enemies. It's a god simulator like that. The move sets and styles aren't that different between characters either. You can call your partner in, and again, they will just fight for you. And that's the thing. You feel like a passenger. You don't feel like a player at the heart of all this. You genuinely just feel like a bit of a passenger along for the ride, and I don't know how different that will be if you put it on hard. I don't know if that will improve the experience or just make it more frustrating. See here, I'm not doing anything. I press my special and the computer's doing all of this. There's no input for me to make. I don't know what they're saying because there's no subtitles. It's just a bit of a letdown, if I had to say anything. It looks like it could be fun if they just added a bit more depth. If that makes sense. So yeah, that's Touken Ranbu Warriors. It's certainly an interesting game. It's an interesting concept. I just feel like it could have been a bit more. I feel like they could have added a few more combos in. But you get to level up. There might be different movesets. Maybe there might be added combos added on later on to give you a bit more depth and variety, but so far I'm not really seeing that, and as a result I'm kind of a little bit bored. There's so much sort of story going on, and the story's not that deep either, that it takes away from just going in and killing stuff, you know? Like, I just want to kill stuff, and every 5 seconds I'm being interrupted to carry on with the story because of a cinematic. And I get the feeling that that's going to be the way all the way through. So I don't know. I want to like it. I like the aesthetic. I like how pretty it is. I like how spectacle the moves look. I just wish that it was a little bit more. I wish that I felt less as a passenger and more as an actual player. But that's just me. So you get to a point, you just press B and then everything dies. There you go. So thank you very much for watching, guys, and I hope to see you all next time. Ciao, ciao.